interprets it, but then makes the product better and more efficient is different than someone else who's trying to just take the data and make sense of the analytics.
Absolutely.
So the two different cost levels are completely a little different.
For sure, right?
Yeah.
So what's really worked before for me was like just showing the client like what are you actually losing by not doing this, right?
Okay.
When you say, hey,
Potential
like you're
losses.
losing $200,000 a month just because you don't have accurate data or whatever, right? Like that really piques the interest of the client. Oh, we're actually losing money by not doing this. That really gets them going. Like it's a very good way to show them the opportunity cost of not doing this. That really gets people going.
Well, of course, because again, it's not a pain.
Right, exactly.
So I mean, the whole point of the selling is really to identify the pain within the company,
Right.
show how you basically showcase AI and how it really benefits and will alleviate.
Sure,
You
absolutely.
need to have this because it will solve this pain
Right,
point that you have.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Just providing value.
But the department didn't even realize.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. They might not even know that they have this, right? So
Yeah.
definitely.
That's the fun part of the sales part.
I know,
Diving,
that's totally.
learning. What's your pain? What's your pain? What's your pain?
Exactly.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Any idea why your company is called Radiant Ascent? Do you know?
So it's from Monish, the founder,
Yeah.
and it's more around like machine learning algorithms.
Is he able to find some tricks that can outperform the typical gradient ascent algorithm?
He's a very nerdy engineer, and so it comes from his background.
Yeah.
And, I think it's engineering.
Yeah, definitely.
So most of your tools is a neural network based, right? Or deep learning based, right?
Not necessarily. So when you get into deep learning, it's like neural networks. So we're mostly Python based right now, and we use scikit-learn library, so machine learning algorithms within there. When you get into deep learning, you're getting into neural networks, which you usually need more larger data sets to actually implement on. A lot of the customers that we're working with right now don't have the depth of data to support a neural network.
Yeah.
And I guess for some of the novices, can you actually identify and define what a neural network is as opposed to just utilizing some basic AI? Or
I
can you
think
go through definitions?
like neural network, you basically put something in and it figures stuff out for you and you get an output.
Yeah.
Like you're not very
It's not if then that.
you're not very hands-on within neural network.
Yeah.
Whereas with like something from scikit-learn, you're more about tweaking the variables to identify where that plane is, define, classifying what's on the left versus the right.
Okay. Would you figure more of the basic AI functionality would be the if then that kind of scenarios, or would that not even fall within that space?
I wouldn't say it falls within that space. It's more of like, so there's two types of machine learning algorithms. Like one is classification. So you're defining yes or no, or this is going to be a blue ball, red ball, yellow ball type thing. And so when you get the data in for classification, you're basically the algorithm draws a line between all the points. And when you plot a new point within that space, it defines on what side of the line that point falls, and you get your classification of. If it's on the left, it's this. It's that. Regression algorithms, you're more or less drawing a line that best represents all of your data, and then when you're predicting, you're again throwing a point and identifying where that point falls on that line.
Okay. Any other questions before we go into maybe a little bit more on one-on-one, or? Yeah, go for it. Don't be shy. This is
I just have a personal one. Like, was traveling worth it? Like, was traveling worth it?
Yeah, it was really awesome to, I guess, just really see the world on someone else's dime. And then you also get to work with so many other people and finding out how different people work. Not everyone works the same way you do, and so learning to be able to work with others, that was like a huge takeaway for me. Also working with people, their English is not the first language, so being able to better communicate, being able to better define processes so that people can follow just something that was great, and I recommend if anyone has a chance to travel somewhere else to in another country to work, like take the opportunity.
Thanks.
The only thing I'll basically say right now when it comes down to AI and dealing with smart technologies, there's some fantastic Canadian companies out there that are doing some really cool things. The number one, which be, I think the gentleman's name is Paul from Nudge AI. The application they're building right now for, I guess, business intelligence is really, really cool. You definitely got to check it out. They do have a freemium model, and it does a lot of predicting on, if you have a CRM, you really want to know what's happening within your network. It's really good at saying, okay, this person's doing this, or they're sending information, how they relate directly to you. Because again, they put a basic score on it, how good of a friend or how well connected you are. The other company that's doing some really good things right now, again, is a company called Zoom AI. When it comes down to basic information, great company to check out, see what's going on. They have a freemium model as well. It's more than just an event scheduler. So I'll give you that little bit of a tidbit. We're actually interviewing on the 20th in Montreal, the company called Fluent AI, and they're talking a little bit more about their base product that interprets language. So opposed to just understanding language from a certain skill set or a certain language point, as opposed to here's a grumpy old white guy, then they'll match it in with someone who has a different accent. So maybe East Asian, maybe from the East Indies. You might be all speaking English, but you're all having different variations directly with that. So we're meeting with the CEO founder of that, talking about how he developed his company. So there's lots of great Canadian companies that are now slowly starting to implement AI, and they're doing some really, really cool things. Just a quick little side note, we're actually going to be doing a conference in Buffalo on the 15th. It's a smart technology conference which deals in sales and marketing. Paul from Nudge is going to be there. The gentleman from, I think, Shutterfly and myself are going to be talking. So definitely if you want to learn a little bit more about the sales and marketing space, definitely come on out or just inquire. I'm more than happy to help you guys out in anything. And more than that, you know what? Grab some pizza, talk. This is a whole little intimate event where we can get to know each other. These guys are really fantastic. They're doing some really, really cool things, and I think that's why I was so excited to bring them down and have this one-on-one with you guys. It's like an informal lunch and learn mixed in with an after hour, mixed in with a slice of pizza. So
Sure.
enjoy yourself, guys. All right?
Can I ask just one more thing?
sure.
Go.
Kind of left field. Just an opinion based question. So AI machine learning a couple of years ago, it was huge.
Yeah.
It was the buzz. I don't want to say buzzword, but everyone was like, how do I get on this?
Right.
Now it's kind of moved to blockchain,
Mhm.
right? More or less. So my interest is in where do you guys think is it possible to bridge the gap? Because blockchain is very decentralized, right? You have this public ledger, you have all the information, and you have people now weighing the option of, hey, do I stay centralized? So you're offering company X AI so they can be specific to my data points, or do I want to move to maybe using something decentralized, where hey, all my data is here, but I own my data. So do you guys, like opinion based, you see there being a gap and how you can bridge that? Because blockchain is still obviously a little further out than AI, but I see that those are two big players, and I'm constantly thinking, how are they kind of good? Is there a way to marry them even? Is there no marriage? And what are your, I guess, opinions? Have you thought about that or anything?
Sorry, what is
I'm following.
What is blockchain?
Yeah.
Blockchain is a public distributed ledger, but when we're done here, I'll sit with
Although it's kind of a blockchain thing, right?
Well, blockchain, I mean, blockchain is a public ledger, and there's the Ethereum blockchain, which a lot of companies now are building on, centralized applications, it works on a set of rules. I mean, it goes pretty in depth, I'm not.
Okay.
But I mean, like.
I would love to explain blockchain with example, just to make you understand. So when you make a transaction.
Oh, no, okay. I know what
Say-
blockchain is, but
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know that particular term that he is
Okay,
mentioning.
makes sense.
Sorry.
So if anyone who doesn't know what's a blockchain over here, because I've done a project in blockchain. So so when customer makes a transaction, say if I'm giving him the money, if I'm transacting him the money, the financial institution is going to charge me some portion of it, right? So the blockchain technology. So when I transact him the money using the blockchain technology behind the scene, so what it does, it makes a note of it. So say if we 10 people are connected on a network, so if one person makes a note of it, I cannot trust that one particular person, but I can trust all 10 of them. So when I make a transaction, everyone makes a note of it on the blockchain technology at the back end. So it, say if I have $100 and if I transact in $20, so the remaining I should have is $80. And so all 10 of them will note that I have only $80 left behind in my pocket. See? So this is basically, it's very fast and it's very reliable as well. And nowadays a lot of governments started implementing blockchain. So back to in India, so there's a lot of provinces they have started implementing blockchain and it's so successful.
Like I said, it is the trend, I think, this year. Like I said,
Exactly.
last year was definitely AI. I was like, oh my god, this is the buzzword. This year it's blockchain.
But do you guys think there's like a
Yeah.
possible bridge-
I haven't
marriage?
even gone down that rabbit hole to figure
Yeah.
out what it is, but I assume there's got to be something within there that,
Yeah.
that marries the two.
Right.
But it's definitely an exciting topic to think about, and I don't know if I'm not a whole lot familiar with blockchain, but if anyone here has some ideas, I'd love to.
It'll kind of be like Jay-Z and Beyonce when they got married.
Right.
Like that, but that'd be
Just like, right, just like in a sec,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks, guys, I appreciate it.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Actually, I have two questions. If I'm sorry for that.
You're holding on us. Come on.
So my first question is, if you would have heard from the news that Dubai government started implementing AI to predict the BMI and height of a particular person for various diagnoses, right? So how can you trust AI? I mean, to what extent you can trust AI? Because it scans the retina of a person, and that the next minute it calculates all the BMI, all the blood pressure, all the stuff, right? So to how much extent you can trust its reliability or durability whatsoever?
It comes down to the model and the error within that model. So for every prediction, you're going to have some sort of, if it's a classification, you're going to have some sort of probability prediction of like how sure your model is of that prediction. Or if it's a regression problem, you're going to have some sort of measure of error where, you know, it's 100 plus or minus, let's say 35. So like, do you trust it when it's plus or minus 35? So there's tolerances built in there, and it's like, it's really how good is that model? I don't know what type of errors that model would give back.
Makes sense. Because my cousin is in Dubai, so there's
Yeah.
a buzz in Dubai, like how much we can trust the machine, because people
Yeah.
always want to trust a human being rather than a machine.
Yeah.
But the second question is, like, I think Faraz remembers a question which I asked in last event.
Right.
It's the same question. So 6 months passed, there was a public spat between two tech billionaires, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, about AI. So it all started with Elon Musk. He said AI is gonna bring the apocalypse future very soon, and then Zuckerberg retorted, no. I mean, he was completely wrong. I mean, is not sure about what he's talking, and then he back. No, the knowledge of Zuckerberg on AI is very limited. So these people are very successful billionaires. They know what they are doing, right? And they have. So 2 weeks past down the line, Facebook's AI system started talking with their own language, and eventually they were about to shut down the old system, right? So what's your perspective on this? I mean, is AI gonna be the biggest fortune for the human beings, or it's gonna bring the judgment day very soon?
Skynet.
So like that's a very good question. So I think that just goes back to what people think about AI, right? Like when people think about AI, they only perceive it as like robots, Terminator, but there are actually different levels of AI. So there's actually 3 different levels of AI. So there's artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and then artificial super intelligence, right? So narrow intelligence is what we are doing right now. Like it's a very narrow application of AI. Like AI is able to beat a player in chess, right? Or like AI is able to beat a player in Go, right? But we are not there yet in terms of the general intelligence, where the AI is at a level as us, or super intelligence, right? Like I personally think that curve will probably not happen in our lifetime, Yes, it's definitely good to have these conversations about of AI being super lot and whatnot, but I personally don't see it happening in our lifetime. Like we are still figuring out AI really narrow applications, right? Like that. Yes, there are lots of theories online that as we finish this narrow intelligence, once we hit the general intelligence, AI is automatically going to learn and it's going to like self-program itself, and it's going to automatically hit to the super intelligence. But I personally don't think it's happening anytime soon. Like it's a good conversation to have, right? Like these are the conversations we should have had when we built out the internet in the 90s, right? Like when we building out the internet, it was like free for all. Right? But now, yes, we are having these conversations about how do we treat AI, like how do we make sure that the AI algorithm is going to follow these set of things. Like these are really good conversations to have. But I just don't think that super intelligent Terminator style stuff happening right now.
Yeah.
Just my theory.
And yourself?
I think it's scary with the potential, like what Facebook's chatbots did. But I think what puts it in perspective of like, what control are you giving these AIs? Like, are you allowing them to define, certain situations that are life-threatening, or are you just letting them determine what number you dial on the phone next? And I think that's the degree, but I do think I would agree with Elon Musk in that there's some dangers that could be out there if you give them free reign over anything.
Yeah. I actually read a very good quote saying that we as humans will get used to AI, right? So like nowadays, like a very simple example is say the elevator door is closing. You know that it's going to crush your hand, but also you know that the elevator door is going to stop when you put your hand, right? So like we will get used to AI as it's kind of like as we kind of use AI. So like it was a very good example that you kind of put your hand in front of the elevator door, that you know that it might crush your hand, but you know that the elevator door is going to stop, right? So like I think we will get used to AI, just like how we've got used to retargeting ads, right? Like before it was all like, oh my god, like why is this ad following me? But now we're like, okay, yeah, whatever, right? And now we're sharing so much information about your location, where you've been, where you ate, etc., etc. Like, but we're used to it right now. So I think as time goes by, like we'll get used to the applications of AI things.
I think a point I want to make, especially when you speak about the Facebook chatbots, is that I think we have overestimated it ourselves in terms of how spontaneous we are really. As human beings, we are creatures of habit.
Right.
And honestly, if the right food is put in place, you kind of can't predict what we're going to do.
Right.
So I don't care what color your hair is, you're not so spontaneous as you think. So
I'll tell you, you're gonna have a pink hair next week, right?
so I would caution against watching too many movies where that's expensive.
You had one more question, or
No, that's
no
fine.
more questions? Other questions? No. Well, the only question or basic thing I'll say at the end is AI is really incredible. There's amazing things that's happening. The fact that it can happen passively, where you're not really thinking about it, it happens behind the scenes, is incredible. It gives you the information that you need. The only thing I'll caution is, again, based on biases. It's all I guess some of the data sets that we've seen, and we've heard some TED Talks right now that talks about some of the dangers of AI, again, either overly predicting certain things or certain outcomes. You heard problems right now with certain phones with when it comes down to facial recognition, where it doesn't recognize certain skin tones. And then you're understanding that the machine's fine, it just hasn't been inputted the right information, or just not enough of the information. So what ends up happening is you get biased data. So that's the only thing I'd basically leave you guys understanding, that really data, garbage in, garbage out. The more information that you have, I think that will basically be the predictor of what your true outcomes are going to be. And I think, how can I say this nicely? AI and any kind of these machine learnings, it doesn't have the human sensor to say what it wants to hear, or sometimes it just gives you the information and it doesn't sensitize or sanitize the information. Sometimes it's just really out there. So with that being said, I just want you guys to really enjoy the conversation we had today. Talk to the gentlemen that are here. They have some great insights on development. There's pizza. Talk amongst yourselves. Have some fun. We're here as a family. That's what we're really known for in Startup Tech.
Wow.
We're still here. I'll start dancing around. But if you guys have any other questions, just feel free to reach out to us anytime. Okay. And these guys will be doing a lunch and learn with us in the next little bit. We actually do have some blockchain lunch and learns coming out in the next, I'd say, next three to 4 weeks as well. So if there's anything you guys are looking for in particular, reach out to me. We do have mentors and other people you can talk to. So you know what? I'm more than happy to set that up for you guys. All right. Thanks so much for coming out.
Thank you.
I know the weather's kind of wonky, so.